in on the side right here that you can push and then swing it. You're gonna have to push the unlock button first. And then slides right off. And then go ahead and put this on your camera. This is a Pocket Wizard, and it effectively is a wireless mechanism. So go ahead and, so that your face can still slip on it, you want to flip it around the other way, pointing it this way so that it's there you go.
This way?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And this one, we just swing this. It doesn't have to be tight, but just to snug it in, and that's pretty good.
Okay.
Go ahead and then turn it on. Let's go to C1. No, excuse me. Yes, let's go C1. You're at C1, good. And let's bring this up to channel A. You're there, and then let's get a second one of these. See if this works. Locking it on there. 1, 2. Sometimes it matters what are we put these in at. Good. Channel 8. And go ahead and push that test button. Just tap it in there. Just push it in.
This one?
Yeah, good. So we know at least it's communicating from this unit to this unit and then up to that. So when you push your test button, it should, try it coming over here, push your test button again and see if it's still, just a quick tap. All right. Just quick, give it another tap and see if it's still working over here. Flip up your antenna. Let's try that. Okay, yeah. Just give it a quick tap.
So those are, it's communicating with that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Really?
And so now let's do
like
this.
a walkie-talkie.
Kind of like that. But now let's take a photograph and see if it communicates even then. So just go ahead and point it right at Brighton.
Brighton.
And look at your mom's camera. But I'm going to set this over here on the side, and I'm not sure if it will.
So I have to push this?
No.
No?
No, we just wanted to make sure we were getting communication.
Oh.
Nope, I didn't see a flash. Push the button on the test button again on the side, okay? And then try. There we go. Worked that time. Well, it's way too powerful that close, but you get to, you can see now the benefit. Now let me do the same thing.
Yeah.
Let me just pull off a little bit sideways and come over here and do the same thing. I don't have to be right in his face. And now get real close. Get right up in here and take that same shot. So fill the whole picture. Even get closer. Fill the whole picture with his face.
Okay.
The whole frame, I mean. There you go. Now I'm going to move it a little bit more here, so we get a little bit different shadowing. And I have this set to here. Okay. So as you're doing the different tests and setups, with this, doesn't mean it will work next week.
Yeah.
But if we get outside, and we can control this so it doesn't have to be ET. I can say, I'm going to just manually turn this down to, say, 1/64th power. So now I'll shoot the same shot and see how our light looks. How's that? All right. So I can turn this manually up and down. So based on what our sun is, we get a mounting bracket for this, so I don't have to hold it. This is just a little seat, so we don't have to hold it. Now, what we would do is set up the upside down bucket or what have you, figure out what we want to do with the light, and where the sun is hitting. If we can use the sun as our primary light source, that would give us a good primary light source, and then we would just use a flash to do what's called fill flash. So we might, if the sun's coming in strong from this angle, then we might come in from over here and low, like this, to just fill in that strong light. You wouldn't even notice so much that this is, in fact, you don't want to notice that this is coming from here. You want it to be, we would want it to be weak enough that it's not even noticeable as a secondary light source, but strong enough that it fills in those harsh shadows that might be coming from above. I've got a third unit. These transmit and receive. I have a smaller unit that just does transmit. It goes on top and I've lost it. I don't know where it's at. If I find it, great.
So this is separate from if you buy those?
Yeah.
So you have to have this when you have that?
You would need at least 2 to communicate.
Yeah.
But the smaller one's about $200. It goes on the top. That one, it only sends signal, it doesn't receive signal, but it's nice because it's small. So instead of having this big kludgy mounted box on the top of your camera, it would just need to be that small one. And I've shown it to you before, but I just don't have it with me right now. It's nice because it's small, and you can still mount. It's got a mount on the top for different ones. So like here, you can have a flash mounted on top of it. But I sometimes use it as a trigger. Like this is a trigger for my car. Well, I sometimes will set my lights up in such a way and use that just as a hand trigger. Good example, we had Covington Elementary School was having a effectively, it was a fashion show. Think of it like a fashion show where the kids were coming across the stage. So the principal asked if I would come and set up our studio so that it would be like red carpet. Okay. You know, the red carpet where they have paparazzi and all that sort of thing. That's what they were trying to simulate. So they went ahead and set the red carpet stuff up. We brought in studio lights and set those studio lights up. And I had those set to wirelessly trigger. And then I just had my little trigger, handheld, that I gave Wendy, my wife. And she sat out in the audience with her class, you know, first graders. And she then, from there, I had the camera and I had one of these flashes on top of it, but I turned the flash, I mean, actually, I think I pulled my film, my memory card out. So I wasn't actually taking any pictures. But I was just working the camera as though I'm there doing paparazzi for the show. The kids would come across the carpet and they would say, you know, they would talk like it's a fashion show and that kind of thing, that some of the other teachers would. While they were doing it, I had a paparazzi hat on and a press badge, and I was just kind of making it look like that's what I was doing. And I was popping my flash off with my camera, but I had it turned off for everything else, and I had my wife, Wendy, in the audience, and she was just basically pushing that trigger when it seemed appropriate. So if nothing was going on, fine, she wasn't pushing it. As they would walk across, she would push it so that from the audience side, because I hadn't ever really stopped to think, what does the audience see when this is going on? So I had her do it so she could say, from the audience side, see what she's expecting to see. So she's popping it remotely. I'm not controlling any of that. I'm only controlling my camera, and I don't even have a memory card in it because I'm not taking any pictures. I'm just simulating that. So that's a time when you could use it for other things as well. I'll also use it in reverse. Let's see if we can do that. I think I don't have your cable though. Let's see on the side here what your cable looks like. I think it's going to be more like a phone jack. Yeah, I don't know if I have that cable.
No, I want to buy a new camera because I think the latest one from this one.
The 6. They just came out with a version like a T6i and a T6X. Two versions of the new one now.
Is the I better than the S?
I don't know that I would say one is necessarily better, but different from each other. But when you're ready to get them, we can talk more in detail about those differences.
Probably after Thanksgiving or so. That's when you should buy Bryton can use this. You wanna do photography? It's great.
Oh, yes, you want to see if we can go on out there and do that instead? We can stop this. I dropped my camera at church yesterday. Bent this, my filter. See, it's bent a little bit?
Yeah,
And broke out the glass.
but your camera is okay.
Yeah, saved the camera. So my glass was all shattered in front, the filter. And I left my ring on. I've got to order in a new filter and a new ring and so forth. I'll leave it on there to protect my threads on the rest of my camera until it comes in later in the week, hopefully. But